Give me fuel, give me fire, give me double shot inside.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Chris, and welcome to today's play-by-play version of the Pennsylvania 500 here at the Pocono International Raceway. This is the second time that we're going to be going to Pocono, and also the final time this season that we'll be heading to Pocono. So this track might be a little bit different compared to the first time. It's going to be a little bit hotter going into today's race compared to earlier when we went. The summer was starting to start, and it was a little bit cooler at that point, but we're now deep into the summer. So this racetrack, race temps, definitely going to be hot, safe to say. But today, going into today's race, there was a lot of news that came about with driver transfers, drivers' seats being in jeopardy of possibly losing them, and who would stay with their current teams. And the biggest shocker, or like the biggest news rather, before going into today's race was Bill Elliott announcing retirement before the start of today's race. So at the end of the year, that'll be it for Bill, but he'll run a part-time schedule, so it's better. But before jumping into today's race, let's go on ahead and take a look at the point standings going into today. As coming out of New Hampshire, Dale Earnhardt Jr. won last time out, and with that win, he got close to the top 10. But at the top of the championship, got closer, as Zachary is now 177 points ahead of Jeff Gordon at P2, with Ryan Newman 3rd, Ricky Rudd 4th, Jimmy Johnson 5th, Kurt Busch in 6th, Bill Elliott in 7th, Jeff Green sits 8th, Matt Kenseth in 9th, and Jeff Burton sits in 10th. So the championship standings currently going into today's race, Jeff Gordon is now within a race behind his own driver and team in Zachary Smithley. So we're going to see today how that's all going to shape up, and it should be quite interesting to see. We'll probably have some shakeups in the point standings coming out of today's race. We'll see how much of a shakeup it'll be. But really, the only way to find out is by going on ahead and jumping to the start of today's race. So let's go on ahead and do that right now. So getting ready for the start of today's race, as we have in row number 1, last race winner at New Hampshire, Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins the pole. He is continuing that hot streak from New Hampshire last time out with a pole win. And to his outside is Rocket Man Ryan Newman, who almost got the pole position. Then in row number 2, you'll find Ricky Rudd and Mark Martin with a good start for today's race. Row 3, it is the Hendrick teammates of Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, who sits second in the championship, 177 points down from the championship leader, currently Zachary Smithley. We'll see if he'll gain any more points today. Row 4, it is Joe Nemechek, who's continuing his hot streak of good finishes as of late, and to his outside is Matt Kenseth. Row 5, it is rookie Jamie McMurray and Bobby Labonte. Row 6 today, it'll be Greg Biffle with a good starting position today here at Pocono, and to his outside is Kevin Harvick, who's on a bit of a bounce back since Charlotte, pretty much. In row 7, it is Jeremy Mayfield, who last time that we came here to Pocono, he started last, finished last, so better starting position today. And let's see, we're going to see if he can keep that momentum going today. And to his outside is Jerry Nadeau, who just signed an extension to stay with his team for 2004 and beyond. Row 8 today, it is rookie Casey Mears and Elliott Sadler to his outside. Row 9 is the last entered car of Terry Labonte, and to his outside is Kurt Busch, still searching for his first win of the season. Row 10, it is Tony Stewart, who's also searching for his first win of the season, and to his outside it is Michael Waltrip, who's kind of had a bit of a summer slump, we'll say, thus far this season. In row 11, you'll find Dale Jarrett and Jeff Green. Row 12, it is Jeff Green's teammate Steve Park, and to his outside is Jeff Burton. Row 13 today, you'll find John Andretti, who just signed a new deal to stay with the Petty Enterprises number 43 car for the next couple of years. And to his outside is Johnny Benson, whose ride is a little bit in doubt today. Row 14, you'll find Sterling Marlin and Robbie Gordon, who just announced that he'd be back in the number 1 car with Sprite as a new sponsor for next season. Row 15, it is Bill Elliott, who we said earlier announced his retirement at the end of the season. And to his outside, Tony Raines, who's got RCR looking at him, that could be potentially joining that team next season. We'll see. Row 16, you'll find Dave Blaney and Rusty Wallace. Row 17, it is Tom O'Dine and Ward Burton, who will not be returning to number 22 at the season's end. Row 18, you'll find Jack Sprague and Ken Schrader. Row 19, it'll be Kenny Wallace and Jimmy Spencer. Row 20, it is Ricky Craven and Kyle Petty. Then in row 21, you'll find Larry Foyt and Mike Skinner. Around the field, almost consistently, as of late, is the point leader, Zachary Smithley. He may as well just be starting to do the last to first challenge because he's been doing that quite a bit. Starting last and just seeing where he can end up at the end of the race. And then we have 5 DNQs going into today. Those drivers being Hermie Sadler, Christian Fittipaldi, Bobby Hamilton Jr., David Green, and Kirk Shelmerdine. Once again, David Green at some point will start a race this season. And then we have some track information for today. So the pit window should be around lap 17 to 25. Now it's a little bit different compared to earlier in the year. Drivers can stretch out their tires and their fuel by an extra lap. As before it was lap 17 to 19 for tires and lap 22 to 24 for the fuel. Now it is lap 17 to 20 for the tires and lap 22 to 25 for the fuel. And we saw this earlier in the year at the first Pocono race. There were two pit stops per driver. And the main question is, will we see that again today? Will we see 2 stops? Will we see drivers trying to maybe make a 1 stop like Zachary Smithley did, and it almost worked earlier in the year, where he ended up coming up just short, finishing second, albeit he was trying to fend off Dale Jarrett and Rusty Wallace earlier in the year. And because his tires faded away, it just wasn't good for him. It didn't turn out to be good. And him and Rusty caught the wall. He managed to come home second, but Dale Jarrett took the win. But Jarrett also had the better rubber and the faster car. But will it be possible that it might work out? But it's like we said not too long ago. Strategy is essentially the tires. The tires will be the number one thing. That'll be the name of the game. You really don't know what to expect with your tires. Drivers will maybe have their tires fall off, say maybe 10 to 15 laps after the start of the race. Some drivers may have that earlier, maybe 5 to 8 laps into the race, depending on how much they use up their rubber. And tires, as per usual, are going to be a main concern for these drivers. It's kind of like how it was at Chicagoland. Tires, tires, tires. And mainly for a lot of these bigger tracks, tires is the main key. But the thing about Pocono, not that much banking in these corners compared to like 1.5 miles and whatnot. So maybe not, but it all comes down to how you get into the corner, how you brake, how you're able to save your tires, and how you kind of go from there. And then the question we've been asking all season long is, will we have a new winner or a new multi-time winner? As last race at New Hampshire, Dale Earnhardt Jr. added his name to the list of drivers that have won a race so far this season, making it 10, joining the list of names of Zachary Smithley, Jeff Burton, Ryan Newman, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Greg Biffle, Jamie McMurray, and Ricky Rudd, and Dale Jarrett. Almost forgot about Dale Jarrett. So he's joined the list of drivers that have got 1 or more wins. He's only got 1 win so far this season. It was his first non-restrictor plate win last time out of New Hampshire. So maybe today he'll get another non-restrictor plate win, because he's starting on the pole here today at Pocono. And that Bud 8 car, not only just in qualifying, but in practice, he was doggone fast, let me tell you. But I think Junior's main concern is going to be Ryan Newman in that 12 car and Ricky Rudd in the 21, as those 2 cars, Ryan Newman especially, he's still hot for a win. He hasn't won since Las Vegas back at race number 3. It has been almost 20 races since Ryan Newman has last went to victory lane, which is kind of shocking, safe to say, but he has been up there a lot as of recent, so it is possible that Ryan Newman could get another win today. He has been pretty good here at Pocono. Earlier in the year, he was pretty fast. He just wasn't able to really compete for the win. Today, different story. Or not different story. Same story, different position. He was the fastest car throughout the entire weekend at Pocono the first time around. Did not get a good qualifying position, and unfortunately, that kind of what slumped him to a not so good finishing result. But today, it's different. He's starting second on the outside of the front row. He's got a lot of fast guys around him, like Dale Jr., Ricky Rudd, the Hendrick teammates of Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson. And then Matt Kenseth is also pretty fast. Bob Labonte in that 18 car has been pretty fast. And so there's been Jamie McMurray in that number 42 car that we haven't mentioned a lot so far this season. But maybe we'll start to mention him a lot more as we get through the rest of the year. But we're about to head racing. So let's go on ahead and send it up to the NBC guys of Alan Bestwick, Wally Dallenbach, and the late Benny Parsons to give us the go-ahead to go to green here at Pocono.
All right, Matty, thanks. And we talked about Tony Stewart a second ago, way back in 33rd starting spot. BP, 8 top 10 finishes in 9 Pocono races. he can get there again today.
He is terrific here at this racetrack. And that car beside of him, Ricky Craven, yesterday in that final happy hour, that final hour of practice was very, very good. And when you go down in turn one, everyone's going to be diving for the bottom of the racetrack, except Ricky Rudd is not. He ran the high line the entire hour-long session.
Rudd or Craven? You meant Craven?
Craven, yes, I'm sorry. Ricky
Gotcha.
Craven.
200 laps around the 2.5-mile track for the 500-mile distance today. The fans are on their feet. Settle in and enjoy the Pennsylvania 500 with us here on TNT.
Down the front stretch, across our finish line, Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads lap number 1, but here comes Ricky Rudd on the outside of the Bud A car, or on the inside, excuse me, trying to take the lead away as they head into 1. Ricky Rudd having a really good start to today's race, so is Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jr. got the first lap led. He's going to get a really good run on the outside. He's going to take the lead back from Ricky Rudd. So Dale Earnhardt Jr. back out front here at Pocono, with Rudd behind him in second. Ryan Newman fell down to third on the opening lap. Had a little bit of a battle with Mark Martin, the 6th car. But all the top 5 single file, Bob Labonte and Matt Kensler side by side for position. Jimmy Johnson trying to get involved in it. Got a huge wad of cars back here fighting it out for position. See the Ganassi teammates of Mears and Jay McMurray going for it. A little bit further back, you see Dale Jarrett back there. And you see Rusty Walls and trouble! Car on the wall in turn 3! Johnny Benson in the Valvoline Pontiac into the wall. Caution is out here at Pocono. Not what Johnny Benson wanted to see. And my, oh my, is that bad for him. Jeff Byrne, the 99, looks like he's got some damage, I think, on the left front. There was another car that got involved. I think Zachary in the 80 car was another driver that got into it. Caution on lap number 2. Looks like maybe Ricky Craven in the 32 car may have got some damage on the right front. Not too sure about that. Maybe that could have been from earlier. Could be wrong. Jeff Byrne definitely in that 99 car got some damage. Johnny Benson, man, what a start! What an opening lap! Almost got to complete 2 laps. And there you see Johnny Benson. Doesn't look like he's got too much damage. Just got some damage on the right front. Not too much damage. And we're getting told, we're thinking that Zachary may have had something to do with this. We'll take get a look at the replay from the Lightyear blimp. Keep an eye on that 10 and 80. See them going into 3. The 3 wide. And oh man, what in the world? Oh, Blaney was the other one that caused some contact from the 99. I don't know if Zach got loose or whatnot, and maybe he just got tight off the bottom. Get an onboard cam of Zachary. Zachary's really good through turn 2, so he got a really good entry into turn 2. Carried that momentum down the straightaway to turn 3. Goes to the inside of Benson. Now, does he get tight? Oh, wow. I don't know if Zach got tight. I think he may have gotten a little bit tight, but I think Benson may have throttled it up, and that contact between the two may have happened. We'll get an onboard from Benson. Really early in the race for a caution flag, but see what these drivers... Let's see what Benson saw. There's Zach. It's hard to tell. It looks like Zach drifts up the track into Benson, but I'm thinking Benson may have tried to keep the momentum going and may have made a little bit of contact. We'll see you on board from Dave Blaney. Oh man, I'm thinking maybe the two made contact, Benson and Zach, but I think the contact may have mainly happened because Benson was trying to maybe get around Zach because Zach was slowing up a little bit. on board with Jeff Burton, the 99. Now this is going to be interesting for Burton because he's just going to see the 10-car coach shoot right across from him. Wow. Can't quite tell where they both made the contact. It may have been right as when Benson turned sideways down the track, and that's maybe where the contact was. Got another onboard from Craven. This is what Craven saw behind. We'll see if we can get a better angle to see if maybe Zach got tight. It didn't look like Zach carried a whole lot of momentum. So Zach did go up the track a little bit, and maybe Benson was trying to react and try to get around Zach because he didn't know how far up the track Zach was going to get. And both Smithley and Benson made contact. We'll see it from Rusty's point of view. You see Zach goes to the bottom. Now, it doesn't look like he's carrying much momentum, but as soon as he starts drifting up the track, yeah. Then again, I don't know if Benson really needed to go up the track or to make a little bit of contact with Smithley. That could have, I feel like that could have been a little bit avoided. It could have been. But for the first time here on the series, we're going to see some pit stops with multiple camera angles as Bob Labonte, and it looks like a lot of drivers will come down, even those 2 laps in. These drivers will have 2 lap fresher tires compared to the other drivers ahead. And we'll go on ahead and see all the different camera angles for today's pit stop. With Bob Labonte on the top, Jimmy Johnson on the bottom, Zachary Smithley, or Jimmy Johnson in the middle, and Zachary Smithley on the bottom. Do the pit stop times and what each driver is clocking in time-wise. Seeing who gets out first. Looks like a lot of good stops for all these drivers. Bobby Labonte with a 13-second stop. Jimmy Johnson a little bit slower. Zachary definitely slower. He may have had to fix some of the damage. We'll never truly know, unfortunately. But Bobby Labonte wins the race, wins the battle off the pit road. There you see Zachary kind of looks like he gained a spot or 2, being ahead of Sterling Marlin, the 40. We go all the way back to good old Johnny Benson. Looks like he's got the damage repaired. And there we have it. So, Bobby Labonte all the way back to Johnny Benson pitted, but there were some drivers behind Bobby Labonte and a few others that didn't pit, as well as some drivers ahead that didn't pit as well. So the drivers that didn't pit were Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ricky Rudd, Ryan Newman, Mark Martin, and Jeff Gordon ahead of Bobby Labonte that didn't pit. Now, the drivers that didn't pit, that were behind Bobby Labonte, and I'd say probably back until maybe Sterling Marlin, those drivers are the last 5 that didn't pit. So 10 drivers didn't come down pit road. So you got the front 5, and then you got the back 5 in the front. And those 5 at the back are Jack Sprague, Kenny Wallace, Larry Foyt, Todd Bodine, and Tony Raines in the 74 car. So maybe some of those drivers, or maybe it seems like these drivers didn't really see a reasoning to come down pit road, which, fair enough. Some drivers may not have a reason to come down pit road, others may have a reason. But Bobby Labonte, Greg Biffle, all the way back to Johnny Benson think that maybe coming down pit road, fitting some new fresh rubber on will help them towards the end, and maybe the front 10 might be wanting to hope for a caution, depending on how this all kind of goes. But go further back, you see Kenseth, Mears, Terry Labonte, Kurt Busch, Tony Stewart, Nemechek, Park, McMurray, Harvick, Bill Elliott Sadler, John Andretti, Rusty Wallace, Michael Waltrip, Jerry Nadeau, Jeff Green, the point leader, Zachary Smithley, the Sterling Marlin behind him, then Craven, Robbie Gordon, Dale Jarrett, who won the first Pocono race, Dave Blaney, Kyle Petty, Mike Skinner, Jeff Burton, who looks like he's got his damage fixed, Dave Blaney, I think, has got his damage fixed as well, Ken Schrader, Jimmy Spencer, Ward Burton, and finally Johnny Benson, who we also think got his damage repaired. So, not that much damage, just a couple fenders that need to be pushed back out, and it looks like they're all good to go. You see the pace car lights are off, so we are going to go back racing today. And definitely with the introduction of the pit road time and whatnot, haven't done that before. New thing we're adding to this when a caution comes out in driver's pit. We've realized that we miss a little bit of the action when drivers come down pit road, so definitely wanted to give that to y'all, and hopefully you guys like that. I think you guys will. I think you guys will enjoy that sort of stuff, and we'll keep it going. I think we might do it for green flag pit stops as well. We'll add some drivers as the race is going on to the left side of the screen and see how that kind of goes. But Enough about pit stops. We're going to go back racing as the pace car heads off. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Ricky Rudd will lead the field back to the green flag. Green flag back in the air. We're back underway at the Pennsylvania 500 at Pocono. Dale Earnhardt Jr. got an amazing launch off the start to get a bit of a gap on Ricky Rudd behind. See Ryan Newman following closely behind the Motorcraft Ford. It seems like Rudd got a really good bite off on the bottom in the middle of turn 1 that allowed him to get a good one to keep P2 on Newman. Biffle actually took it to Bob Bonnie back there a little bit. He's still taking it to him. Drivers that are on fresher tires, they're still going to go for position, but they better watch out because they don't want to make a 3-wide go into these corners and cause another wreck. We'll see how that all kind of shapes up as you see the battle for 11th between Bob Labonte and Greg Biffle. Biffle maybe going to try to get to the inside and maybe get a better run off the corner. Bob Labonte holds it. Can Biffle try to get a better run? Doesn't look like he can. So they're going to be side-by-side down the front stretch. Look at this. A lot of drivers are side-by-side. Even Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin are side-by-side. They're battling out for P4. Newman, Rudd, and Earnhardt Jr. have checked out from each drivers behind. Gordon goes for 4th. Now this is big for Jeff Gordon because his championship fight, his championship threat, his rival, his own driver, Zachary Smithley, he's mired in the 30s. He went down pit road, took 4 tires, so Zach is mired back in the pack. So Gordon's got to pay attention to when Zachary pits because I think the only way I think Gordon's ever going to win this championship or compete for this championship all the way to season's end is to predict when Zach's going to pit. Because you never know when Jeff Gordon might make the wrong choice or the wrong choice. Or the right choice. Excuse me. I think I said wrong twice. You know, all up ahead. And Earnhardt leading that Pocono. Shades of Dale Earnhardt Sr. who has won this race a couple times. Almost won it in the year that Jeremy Mayfield was driving the number 12 car and went to victory lane. And he intimidated the Intimidator. Meanwhile, back for 6. Look at Jack Sprague and Mark Martin going at it. Jack Sprague, he's holding his own pretty well inside the top 10. He hasn't lost that many positions. I will say, though, there's a lot of fast cars around him, and he's actually kind of holding it. Todd Bodine and Tony Raines are a couple names to add on to that. Jack Sprague, he missed a good chunk of the season. He pretty much missed almost all the summer races due to injury back at Richmond. And right now, even though he hasn't pitted yet, he's up in the top 10. He's running pretty good. Meanwhile, Tony Raines, I don't think, got a good run out of turn 2, so Bob Labonte is going to take advantage of it, and Jimmy Johnson, the 48, is going to fall behind him. Got to keep in mind, Jimmy Johnson's also going to be in the championship fight, so whatever points he can get on Zachary Smithley, the better. Go back to a couple other drivers like Tony Stewart and Steve Park. Steve Park's future with RCR and the number 31 car looks to be in doubt. Look further back. There you see Zachary, the point leader, fighting Kevin Harvick. Gotta be careful. See Bill Elliott running that really, really high line. Zachary, look at him. He's running the higher line. May have caused a position on Kevin Harvick coming out of the corner, but I think he may have a good enough run to carry the momentum down the straightaway. Look at that. They're almost 3 wide ahead of Smithley between Nemechek, Waltrip, and Nadu. They're almost going to be 3 wide with Elliott, Sadler, Harvick, and Smithley. What in the world is going on back here? Look at this move by Zachary going through the middle. What a move by Zach in the middle of turn 2. He's going to pass all those cars and maybe clear Nadu going into 3, and he does. Now that is Smithley knowing the threat that is ahead of him, and that's his own boss, Jeff Gordon, gaining points on him. Over the past 2 races, Gordon has gained a good amount of points on Smithley, and Smithley does not want that. He's won the tides to turn, and he's doing it right now. Especially with him passing 5 cars. Car contact between him and Nadu. But Nadu saves it. Zachary keeps going. Nadu keeps the run on the high side. How in the world does he keep that going? I have no clue. But he did. Now it looks like they're going to be side by side down the back straightaway. Or down the straightaway. Oh, it's the back straightaway. I think it is. It is the back straightaway. We're going to call it that. Screw it. These 2 drivers find it out for a top 25. Smithley's going to get him in the corner. Oh, but he drifts up the track a little bit. Here comes Harvick at the 29. Harvick's got fresher tires. Then again, Smithley, Nadu, and Harvick, they all got fresher tires. Smithley might give this to Harvick. Oh, Harvick, he goes up the track a little bit. He kind of tried to do a slide job on Smithley, but Smithley, he pulls a switchback like his father, Christopher Smithley, made famous over in Formula 1. Almost made it happen, but they're side by side down the front stretch. See at the top of the ticker, Earnhardt Jr. lost the lead to Rudd, and Newman passed Earnhardt Jr. But right now, the point leader, Smithley, going at it on Harvick. Here comes Nadu fighting back. Nadu in that U.S. Army Pontiac doing wonders. You wonder why MB2 signed him on until 2006. They probably should have signed him on for longer. Meanwhile, up ahead, Steve Park and Jeremy Mayfield going at it. Steve Park's going to pass Mayfield. Steve Park brought on that all-orange number 31 singular wireless Chevrolet, and he's doing wonders with it right now in this race. Mayfield's going to fight back on the outside. What a story for Jeremy Mayfield. The first time we came here to Pocono, he, at this point on lap 11, was sitting dead last. Now look at where he is right now. He is inside the top 15, fighting Steve Park. Look behind him. Look at the 3 wide between Smithley, Andretti, and Kurt Busch. Andretti gets the better end of the stick of it. Smithley's making moves. He actually passed Terry Labonte at one point. We completely missed out on that. My fault, everybody. Then again, that's the camera crew. What the heck, camera crew? Get better with it. See Smithley, he's gonna clear Kurt Busch. Oh, he kind of stopped it on the middle of the corner to prevent Terry Labonte's run from happening. And he's gonna sit after John Andretti, who also just signed an extension of that number 43 car for the next few years. But back to Jeremy Mayfield. Mayfield, he's having a pretty good string of races now. It all started with a top 5 finish at Michigan, the race after Pocono. So it's safe to say that Jeremy Mayfield, he's been on a bit of an upswing as of late. He's fighting Tony Stewart, but Tony's going to get him. But that's okay for him. Tony kind of got a little bit loose on the bottom, but look at Mayfield going for the position. Look at behind them. Zachary, he got the position on John Andretti. So now Smithley, I think, is going to take that momentum and go right after Tony Stewart and not John Andretti, just past Andretti. Go after Jeremy Mayfield. Meanwhile, look at Johnson and Tony Raines. Tony Raines, he's got 2 laps older tires than these guys around him, so he's still fighting it out. Meanwhile, up ahead, you can kind of see it, but the battle for the lead between Newman and Ricky Rudd is intensifying. Johnson got Raines. Matt Kens is going to get Tony Raines. Look at Greg Biffle having a good run. And that Granger number 16 car, he's almost inside the top 10. He's got Casey Mears, who sits, I think, inside the top 10. Got Larry Foyt ahead of him. Look at Bob Labonte. Gonna try to maybe take it on Jack Sprague. Gets a good run out of turn 3. Remember, all these drivers that Bobby Labonte is essentially fighting, they're on 2 lap older tires, and he's got fresher tires than them. It might be by 2 laps, but 2 lap fresher tires is still 2 lap fresher tires. There's now a change for the lead. Ryan Newman out front now, with Ricky Rudd sitting second, Earnhardt Jr. third, Jeff Gordon in fourth. Got the onboard cam back. Look at Junior. He got a really good run out of turn 1. Gonna make that pass on Ricky Rudd. Junior's going to carry that momentum down the straightaway and into turn 2. Can he try to grab the lead? Is he close enough? He's not close enough. About a car length back, but it's okay for him. Now, if you can believe it, we got another camera angle with Ryan Newman. There we go. Look at that. Nice little shot. Now, this is bad for Zachary because this is all of his championship rivals. All of his championship rivals are within a blanket of one another. Meanwhile, behind these 4, you got Kenny Wallace sitting in 5th, and then Mark Martin sitting in 6th. The battle for 7th ongoing right now. Got the onboard from Earnhardt Jr. now to Rudd. Ricky Rudd having a pretty good race today. He actually put a little bit of a gap on Jeff Gordon, who's now fighting Kenny Wallace, and he actually gets him off the corner. Keeps 4th. Wallace keeps 5th. Mark Martin in 6th, Tabadine 7th, Bobby Labonte in 8th, Jack Sprague in 9th. Driver in 10th is that number 41 that you can barely see back there. It's Casey Mears. Now, while these drivers are single file, and with it being a little bit calm, with Ryan Newman leading the race, we're heading to lap 16. We did this the first time we went to Pocono. We're going to do it again. It's going to continue on. Lap 16 tribute to the late Greg Biffle. And while we ride on board with Bob the Bonnie, Ryan Newman completed lap 16. And that was lap 16 tribute to good old Greg. You see the battle going on between Bob the Bonnie and Todd Bodine. This is for 6. Bodine kind of runs a little bit higher. Bob the Bonnie trying to see if he can maybe fake out the 54 car, maybe try to get a run. Seems like Bodine will keep the position for now. Meanwhile, battle for 4th between Kenny Wallace and Jeff Gordon. See Kenny going forward. Kenny gets the spot. Jeff Gordon will fade back to 5th. Not bad for Gordon, but remember, these drivers up ahead, all these drivers from Ryan Newman down to Todd Bodine, they still got to pit. And there's some drivers behind Bob the Bonnie that have yet to pit. Kenny Wallace is actually going to be able to hold his own coming out of turn 3. Keep P4 over Jeff Gordon. Kenny Wallace having a pretty good run today. I mean, like we said, he was one of the drivers that stayed out, but maybe this race could end up being a really good finish for him coming out of today. Who knows? Meanwhile, up ahead, you see Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's kind of a little bit close to he's kind of a little bit close to Ryan Newman. They're pulling away from Ricky Rudd in the 21, so maybe Rudd's tires are starting to fade away. On board with Newman. Looking back at Earnhardt Jr. sitting 2nd. Seems like Newman just has a better entry into these corners. Earnhardt trying to maybe see if he can maybe find a way to get a little bit closer to that 12 car. It's kind of getting there. The only problem is that it's a little bit difficult for him to get closer to that 12 car, especially with how well Newman's running his line. Here comes Ricky Rudd on pit road, bringing Kenny Wallace in the 23. Jeff Gordon looks like will stay out. But Rudd, Kenny Wallace will come in. Jack Sprague will continue to stay out. Tony Raines will stay out. I think there was another driver ahead of him that stayed out. I forgot who. I couldn't quite tell who that was. One of the drivers ahead of Tony Raines. But on pit road is Ricky Rudd in the 21. Newman continuing to lead ahead of Earnhardt. If you look a little bit further back. Okay, so it was Todd Bodine that came down pit road and Larry Foy in the 14. So now, with those drivers coming in, will this pose a problem for drivers like Newman and Earnhardt? Because these two drivers have yet to pit still. Nice view of the straightaway from turn 2 to turn 3. Will either Newman or Earnhardt come in this time? It doesn't look like either of them will. Doesn't look like either Gordon or even Mark Martin back there went down pit road. Did you see the first driver on the fresher tires? Bob the Bonnie sits 5th. Jack Sprague back there in 6th. Might need to come down pit road. I don't think Casey Mears needs to come down pit road. Mears may have been one of the drivers, I think, that was a part of the drivers that came down pit road on lap 3. It was lap 3. So now we're going to see if either Newman or Earnhardt will come down pit road, because the strategy has essentially been flipped upside down ever since the first caution on lap 2. See, Newman actually kind of got a little bit of a better turn 2 exit than Earnhardt Jr. did. Look at how far away he is compared to last time. My gosh. Newman is flying out there. He's dominating this race, and that is really good for Newman. He wants to get back in that championship hunt, and this might be the race to do it. Him and Earnhardt still don't come down. Neither does Gordon, but further back, Bobby the Bonnie just passed Mark Martin for 4th. Now that's big because Bobby the Bonnie, even though he's got 2 lap fresher tires, these drivers in front of him, their tires might be starting to fade away. But here comes Casey Mears on Jack Sprague. Watch out for that 41 car. Casey Mears has been quiet all season long, and right now he's going for close to a top 5 spot. Actually, he is going for 5th. No, he's not. He's going for 6th. Never mind. Gordon, I thought, came down pit road. He didn't come down. Jack Sprague will keep 6th, though, over Casey Mears. Mark Martin sits 5th. Bob Labonte 4th. There's Gordon in 3rd. Up ahead, Earnhardt Jr. He actually closed the gap a little bit on Newman compared to last time. Not close enough to really make a pass or anything, which not good for Earnhardt, but the pit stops are going to be the main key for them. Still, neither of them come down pit road. Doesn't look like Gordon behind will come down either. So this is going to be a chess match of who's going to come down first. I think Earnhardt and Newman may think their tires are a little bit better, And Rudd came down pit road because he used up his tires when he was in this fight between the two. As we look at Earnhardt Jr. getting a little bit closer to Newman coming out of turn 1. He actually gained quite a bit of time in the middle of 1 to carry that momentum down Long Pond straightaway. Enter turn 2. Newman gets a better entry. Looks like a better exit too to go along with it. Newman kind of keeping the gap the same between him and Earnhardt as they head down the straightaway into turn 3. Don't know if Newman's going to come down this time. He might stay out, or getting reports that he might stay out for maybe until the halfway point of lap 25, maybe a lap sooner, just from the looks of it. And it might not just be Ryan Newman that's wanting to do that. It might be drivers like Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon, and Jack Sprague, and Mark Martin that are looking to do the same thing because, well, Rudd, Todd Bodine, Larry Foyt, and Kenny Wallace already came down. They were 4 out of the 10. So these last 6, they're thinking about coming down. They all might come down within a lap of one another, or maybe 2, but who knows. But it won't be long, we might think, until Bob Labonte and a few others pit, because they might pit not too long after these drivers pit. But the drivers that pit after these drivers do, these next 6 that pit, the rest of the field, they only got to pit one more time. Even the drivers that came in on lap 18. This is the catch. The drivers that come in after these drivers, maybe 2 or 3 laps after, they're still going to have fresher tires, and they can go even longer. And there's a possibility that the drivers that pit even on lap 25 won't even make it to the end, maybe let alone lap 26. So it's getting down to it. This might be a race where we might see a different winner. We might see another new winner, or we might have a multi-time winner just out of the blue. It really just kind of depends. So Newman, Earnhardt, and Gordon, they got to watch out because Newman's in the championship hunt, Gordon's in the championship hunt. Bob Labonte, he's just trying to search for a win. And that Interstate Batteries number 18 Chevrolet for Joe Gibbs. And he's going to try to do the best he can to make sure that he can maybe get a win if strategy plays out the way that we're thinking it might, because him and his team think it might be playing out that same way. I think Gordon's actually coming down pit road. We saw Gordon to the inside. I think Earnhardt Jr. and Newman to the inside as well. Yes, they are. Here comes Newman, Earnhardt Jr. We think Jeff Gordon's going to follow suit. And Gordon does. And Bobby Labonte will stay out on the racetrack. So Labonte stays out. As we look at the drivers coming down pit road, there's not Bobby Labonte, there's Ryan Newman. Behind him is Dale Earnhardt Jr. Only one stall separates the two because they were on the front row. So this is going to be interesting to see if Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets to jump on Newman, or if Newman gets to jump on Earnhardt. And it looks like Newman's going to get the jump on Earnhardt. Gordon actually got out faster than Earnhardt too, but Earnhardt looks like he is still going to beat out Jeff Gordon. But he's got to pay attention though. To look down the straightaway, it seems like Mark Martin might be coming down pit road. He's side by side with Casey Mears for second. Enter turn 3. Maybe Mark Martin's going to come down pit road. He is the last car out of the 10 that didn't pit. And here he comes. Mark Martin, the Viagra 4, coming down pit road. Now that's pretty big for Mark Martin, but Mark Martin, he hasn't had the best of seasons, but right now, this could be a game changer for him. This is his first stop of the day. He might be able to stretch it all the way to the end. He was able to stretch it 26 laps before coming down pit road. See Mark Martin coming in. Looks like he's going to take on 4 tires on a full tank, and he's going to be out and away here sometime soon. With Bobby Labonte still leading now, with Casey Mears running in second. There goes Mark Martin. See Jeff Gordon getting out ahead on the track. Yeah, Larry Foyt ahead of him. Earnhardt Jr. was just ahead of Foyt. But now, we have Bobby Labonte in the lead. And Bobby Labonte does need to come down pit road. Now, when that'll be, it might be in the next couple of laps. But he's getting these 5 bonus points for leading some laps. Now, leading the most laps might be out of the equation, but who knows? But we got Greg Biffle running 3rd. Matt Kenseth running 4th. There's Jeremy Mayfield running 5th. Just behind them is Steve Park running 6th. Point leader Zachary running 7th with Jimmy Johnson 8th. Jerry Nadeau sits in 9th, and Tony Stewart rounds out the top 10. And these are the drivers that pitted on lap 3. This is going to be interesting to see which one of these drivers are going to pull the trigger first and come down pit road. You see Jeff Burton and Dale Jarrett going at it. Moving further back to Ward Burton, Robbie Gordon, Johnny Benson with some right front damage, it looks like again. And there's Ricky Rudd, who once all these drivers come down pit road will mathematically be the leader. And he is out by a lot as he's going to get a good run coming out of turn 1 and take that advantage or take that run on Ken Schrader in the 49. Looking back here, you see you can barely make out Ryan Newman back there, but Newman's back there with Kenny Wallace ahead of him. So once this cycles through, it'll be Ricky Rudd, Kenny Wallace, and Ryan Newman as Bobby Labonte comes down pit road. He's the first one to trigger this second group of cars that came down on lap 2 to come down pit road, but this will be their second and final stop of the day. So it seems like the strategy play is going to be 2 stops. And we also think Bobby Labonte was the only one that came down pit road. We don't think anybody came down with him. Which is kind of a shocker. Yeah, because Greg Biffle's now leading with Matt Kenseth behind him. Actually, Casey Mears came down pit road. We forgot Casey Mears running 2nd. But now Greg Biffle's out front. If he stays out for this lap, he could lead a lap and gain 5 bonus points. I think he still might be able to, because we don't know who is going to take this lead away. We don't think it'll be Matt Kenseth, but he's got quite a bit of a distance over Kenseth. See all these drivers coming down, it looks like. Biffle, Kenseth, Jeremy Mayfield, Steve Park. See Biffle entering pit road. We also think Biffle actually got the lap led when Bobby Labonte came down. Here comes Zachary. He's actually going to snatch the lap away from Greg Biffle. But that's good for Zach, because now he got 5 bonus points. And all Sterling Marlin, he wasn't able to come down pit road. I think Zach may have made a good choice by not coming down, because there was a lot of cars coming down pit road. We got Johnson, Kenseth, Greg Biffle, Kevin Harvick, Jerry Nadeau, Jeremy Mayfield. Meanwhile, out on the track, it's Zachary Smithley in the 80, who's got a lap led. Sterling Marlin, the 40 car, looks like he's going to come down pit road. Kenseth actually jumped his teammate in the pits. Marlin running that lower line, making it obvious he's going to come down pit road. He's got quite a bit of an advantage over Ricky Rudd, so he doesn't have to worry too much. But Zachary Smithley, just like he did earlier in the year at Pocono, playing the strategy game, leading some laps. He's going to make the most of it, especially this second time around. He's going to come in for a second time with how early he pitted. But this could end up being pretty big for Zachary Smithley in that 80 car. He could come out with a dub. So you see Sterling Marlin back there on pit road. Ward Burton was actually on pit road. Zachary led another lap just to guarantee that he would definitely get 5 bonus points just in case he didn't lead the last time around. Now this is, like we said, this is huge for the championship because Zachary is the only one apart from him and Jeff Gordon that have led a lap today. Because Gordon has not led a lap. Jeff Gordon did not lead a lap earlier today. Zachary Smithley now has led 2, as we're seeing on the ticker that we have, or on the timing sheet. And we're getting word that Zachary's going to come down pit road. He's going to take 4 tires. He's the first pit stall. He's got to be careful when he comes in. As he heads through turn 3, he's going to make the sharp left-hander, as he's going to slow down a lot sooner. Remember, he's the first pit stall here at Pocono. There you see Ricky Rudd back there. In the middle of turn 3, it looks like. Zachary coming in. And Zachary is on pit road, and at any moment now, we'll see Ricky Rudd coming down the front straightaway. And there he is with Ward Burton just ahead of him. Ward Burton trying not to go a lap down. Ryan Newman will take over 2nd. Kenny Wallace will now be 3rd. With Tabadine and Dale Earnhardt Jr. battling out for 4th. Then Jeff Gordon sitting behind him in 6th. So now Ricky Rudd is now out front here at Pocono with 20 laps to go. He's got a hard-charging all-tail Dodge of Ryan Newman behind him. Junior got Todd Bodine for 4th place. Right behind Jeff Gordon is 6th. That's Bobby Labonte in 7th. Now Ricky Rudd, even though he was able to jump Newman in the pits, guess who's got the fresher tires out of these 2? It's Ryan Newman in the 12 car. Ryan Newman, I think, actually has 5 or 6 lap fresher tires than Ricky Rudd does. Right on board with not all-tail Dodge, but the Mobile 1 Dodge of Ryan Newman. Look at the run he gets in turn 3. He had to lift a little bit out of the throttle. He got a little bit tight in the middle of 3. We'll get back to Ryan Newman in the 12. Ricky Rudd able to hold his own as they head into turn 1. Ryan Newman maybe trying to see if he can sniff out something from the back of the 21 car. May have actually got a good, he actually got a really good run in turn 1. Look at the momentum he's carrying down the back straightaway. Down Long Pond straightaway. Look how much closer he is to the 21 car. Does Rudd give him the inside? Ooh, he pretty much did give him the inside, but Newman didn't know if he was going to. But he got a little bit tight off of turn 2. Side by side for the lead, down the straight into the 3. And Ryan Newman will clear Ricky Rudd, and Ryan Newman is back out front at Pocono. That third one of the season has been lingering Newman all year long. He is waiting for that third win and looking to get back in the championship fight, and this could be the race. They now have 18 laps to go at Pocono. With Newman leading, Rudd second, and Kenny Wallace still sits in third, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. is fast charging on Kenny Wallace. Now the main thing is, can Rudd keep up with Ryan Newman, or will his tires fade away, unfortunately? His tires might fade. Bob the Bonnie actually got Jeff Gordon back there for 5th. Top Bodine actually got passed by both of them, as he's now sitting in 7th. Gordon sits 6th. So Gordon got P5, but then lost it to Bob the Bonnie. Ryan Newman in the 12 car, keeping the pace up on the 21. It's a little bit different compared to Earnhardt Jr., where Jr. was actually kind of pulling Newman a little bit, but they were on even tires. Now, with both Newman and Rudd on different tires, Newman's just able to pull away, come out of these corners, and it's pretty big for that 12 car. Further back, you see Jack Sprague and John Andretti sitting in 8th and 9th. You see Dale Earnhardt Jr. sits 4th. Bob the Bonnie just behind him. Jeff Gordon just behind them in P6. See about the onboard with Bob the Bonnie as he has up turn 1. Got a run to carry it down Long Pond straightaway on Dale Earnhardt Jr. Can he get him? He's got a good run like Newman had on Rudd. Does he give him the bottom? He does, and Labonte takes it. But he doesn't clear Earnhardt. He saw an opportunity, he took it, but he got a little bit tight, it seems like, in the middle of turn 2, and he just wasn't able to fully complete the pass on Earnhardt Jr., but Labonte does have fresher tires than Jr. A little bit tight in 3 again, so he's not able to clear Jr. that time. So he had 16 laps to go. Jeff Gordon still in this fight in that 24 car back there. Now, if and when Gordon can get to these two drivers, it'll be big, but Gordon might have to pit once again towards the end of the race, and that might halt his championship status, or halt his championship run that he's currently got going on with the points that he's gaining on Smithley. So this might be big for Smithley if Gordon has to pit at least one more time. Labonte's got a better run going into turn 2 this time. He goes back to the bottom. Not as close to Jr., but Jr. did close the door. But Labonte got a really good run into turn 2, takes it to the outside, and he's going to clear Jr. for 4th. Bob Labonte up to P4 at Pocono. Now Dale Jr., can he try to get Labonte back, or will Jeff Gordon get him? Because now Jr. is kind of off kilter. He's off balance a little bit. He was caught off guard by the move that Bob Labonte made on him. Doesn't look like Jeff Gordon is going to make a pass anytime soon. See back there, Mark Burns actually making a pass on what looks to be Tony Raines, I think, in the 74. What's crazy to think is that Kenny Wallace is just ahead of Bob Labonte in P3. Oh, here got Jeff Gordon. He got a really good run coming out of turn 1. He's actually going to take that momentum down Long Pond. Hit Jr. And he got him well before turn 2. That was kind of Labonte's problem, is that he wasn't able to get Dale Jr. before turn 2, and he kind of had to pass him in turn 2 whether he wanted to or not. And that allows Jeff Gordon to get around Dale Jr. and grab the position. He's being all up ahead. Bob Labonte's closing in on Kenny Wallace for P3. And oh, wow, Kenny Wallace coming down pit road, and it looks like Ricky Rudd's coming down pit road as well. There's Kenny Wallace, and there's Rudd. So Ricky Rudd's coming down pit road. That's going to be his second stop of the day. Labonte doesn't have to make a second stop. Newman might not have to make a second stop either. I think Gordon might have to. But I don't think Junior might. I don't think Junior has to either. This could be all Ryan Newman's. We're going to have to see within the closing stages of this race between Ryan Newman and Bobby Labonte. Especially for Ryan Newman, because Labonte is closing the gap on Newman. You see down the straight and into turn 3, the gap between Newman and Labonte as they sit first and second. Junior will sit third. Newman does not come down pit road. As a matter of fact, it's not Newman sitting, or not Newman, it's not Junior sitting in third. It's Jeff Gordon sitting in third. My bad. But now with 13 laps to go, can Ryan Newman make it to the end? Because we know Bobby Labonte in the 18 can. Jeff Gordon we don't think can. Earnhardt Jr., he pitted around the same time. He pitted at the same time Newman did, so both drivers should be able to make it. The question is, will they make it? Actually, as a matter of fact, Gordon also pitted around the same time that Jr. and Newman pitted as well, so this is going to be very, very interesting. Derek Sprague might have to come down again. Casey Mears and Mark Martin might not have to. Maybe I think Tony Raines has to come down. Kenseth, Jeremy Mayfield definitely don't have to. They already made their second stop. Same for Greg Biffle in the 16. Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Nadeau don't have to come down. Harvick doesn't need to come down. Stewart, Steve Park, Michael Waltrip, Terry Labonte, Bill Elliott, John Andretti, Sterling Marlin, Jim McMurray, Kurt Busch, Jeff Green, Ricky Craven, Rusty Wallace, Zachary Smithley, and a lot of others don't have to come down pit road because they've already done it. As a matter of fact, Ryan Newman has come down pit road because he's not the leader anymore. Meanwhile, the two drivers that made contact in the first Pocono race, Zachary and Rusty Wallace, going at it for position. It looks like it's going to be a cleaner pass this time around compared to the first time around. Not really a jab at Zachary, but it was a little bit of a dirty move that he did make on Rusty the first time around. As you see, Jeff Gordon actually came down pit road with Newman. And I think Jack Sprague came down pit road as well in the Net Zero Pontiac, and he did. And Zachary's now ahead of Jeff Gordon. This might change everything because they're going to have a difficult time in traffic. But guess who's leading this race now? It's Bobby Labonte in the 18. Earnhardt Jr. sitting in second, and right here at the line, we'll find out who's going to sit in third, which I think is Casey Mears. And it is Mears. Mears sits third. If all goes to plan, you see Tony Raines coming down pit road, so Tony can make it to the end. But Casey Mears, if he continues on with this pace, he can finish third. And that'll be his best finish, his best career finish of the season as well as his career. Who would have thought that going into today, that Bobby Labonte would have a chance to win today's race with 11 laps to go, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. would just be sitting right behind him in second. But the thing is Dale Earnhardt Jr., he's not pitting a second time. He didn't have to pit a second time, it seems like. Maybe that's why he took a little bit longer for him in the pit, so he can fit it in, so he can fit his car with more fuel, or get more fuel in the car. We're thinking Newman and Gordon decided to forego putting more fuel in their car, and that may have actually cost them, because Earnhardt Jr., who pitted at the same time that they did, still sits second, with Bobby Labonte sitting in the lead. And Jr. didn't pit with Labonte either. You see Bobby Labonte just over there in the top left-hand corner of the screen. Jr. trying to maybe close the gap on Bobby Labonte. Maybe trying to see if he can maybe get a bit of a run on the 18 car, but it doesn't look like he's getting any closer to that 18. You see back there, you see Jr. coming out of turn 2 and down the straightaway. Labonte is entering turn 3 right now. And when he comes off at turn 3 and on the front straightaway, there'll be 9 laps until Bobby Labonte grabs the win for today's race. My, oh my, would it be big if this happened for Bobby Labonte and Joe Gibbs Racing. But also, the possibility of a caution coming out is still pretty high. But it's just a matter of if a caution will come out towards the end. Because if a caution does come out, then that flips everything on its head. We had it happen in the closing stages of the New Hampshire race last time out with around 6 laps to go when Zachary and Tony Stewart made contact and Zachary Smithley hit the inside wall and it brought out a caution. Zachary was able to limp his car around to finish in 10th. Today, Zachary is sitting inside the top 20, barely, but he's inside the top 20. Jeff Gordon is sitting outside the top 30 right now because of his pit stop. If he can make up some time, he might be able to mitigate some of the points that he's going to lose today. Down the straightaway, 8 laps to go for Baba Labonte in the 18. See, Dale Earnhardt Jr. doesn't look like he's getting any form of time on Labonte, and it seems like Labonte, with the fresher tires, is just able to pull away little by little over Jr. There's only a few laps that really separated these two drivers from pitting, Earnhardt and Labonte, but definitely Labonte pitting later than Earnhardt Jr. did is what's allowed Labonte to be in this position. With 8 to go and about 4 to 5 seconds ahead of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 8 car. With Casey Mears following suit in 3rd. And a win that is possible for the Interstate Battery Chevrolet of Baba Labonte. The 2000 Winston Cup Series champ has had a pretty up and down season. He's been there to lead some laps, and as a matter of fact, he led laps back at Daytona, albeit they were all under caution. But Baba Labonte and that 18 team, they've been there. They just really haven't been able to get the job done. We look a little bit further back to Johnson and Jerry Nadeau going at it for position. Seems like Nadeau's going to get Johnson. Gets solidly inside the top 10 with Greg Biffle just ahead. Look, he's going to continue the momentum on Biffle. And he's going to clear him in turn 1. What a move by Jerry Nadeau. Actually, doesn't look like it. Biffle got a better run. Nadeau got a little squirrely. Can Biffle get him down the Long Pond straightaway and try to keep the position? This is the battle for 7th place. And it seems like it's going to go to Jerry Nadeau. Biffle will fall down to 8th. Johnson going to try to go after him for 8th, as a matter of fact. Try to push Biffle down to 9th. And there goes Johnson to P9, or P8, excuse me, and pushing Biffle down to P9. And then Kevin Harvick rounding out the top 10. Really good run for that GM Good Run Chevy. That's what Harvick's been needing as of late, especially after Charlotte. Seems like every time he mentions Charlotte, it's kind of a Vietnam flashback for him. Well, a little bit further back, you see point leader Zachary Smithley. He's got some of his championship contenders up ahead of him, but mainly the really only big threat is Jimmy Johnson, because back behind him, look at them. There's Ricky Rudd. We saw Ryan Newman just ahead of him. There's Jeff Gordon passing Kyle Petty in the 45. So his main championship rivals are all behind him, with the exception of a few. But Jeff Gordon especially, who is the one sitting 2nd in the championship behind Zachary, he's the main guy that Zachary's trying to look out for. And it seems like today, Zachary's going to gain some points on that 24 car coming out of today. He's able to clear the 45, and now he's going to try to set charge after Dave Blaney ahead. Yeah, there you see Ricky Rudd, Ryan Newman as well. Here comes Zachary, 3 wide on Andretti and Kurt Busch, excuse me. And he's going to try to maybe get the position on Jamie McMurray. He's a little bit slow coming out of turn 3. But he got 1 spot. He's going to try to get another one and maybe another. Got to solidly put himself inside the top 20. Is it going to 1? Any point that Smithley can gain is going to matter the most. On board with Smithley, going to try to get a good run out of turn 1 and keep it. Doesn't quite clear Kurt coming out of turn 1. But turn 2 has always been Smithley's strong suit. We're going to see how this all plays out. There goes Smithley to the inside. He's going to grab the position and pass Kurt in turn 2. Now that's going to be good for Smithley, because turn 2 is essentially like Indianapolis, so we're heading there next. That might be Smithley's strong track. We might have we probably have no idea how that 80 car is going to do, but when we go to Indy next time out, it's going to be big for him. And a long ways to go to the top 10, but maybe Smithley's fine with where he's at right now, just barely sitting outside the top 15. We look a little bit further ahead to Dale Jr. And there's Bobby Labonte entering turn 2. And Jr. was like entering the halfway point of the backstretch. Long way around Pocono. See Jr. heading off to 2 and Labonte entering turn 3. And speaking of 3, as he comes off of turn number 3, it'll be 3 laps to go for Bobby Labonte here at Pocono. Like we said before, that 18 car, he's been there pretty much all season. The problem is he just hasn't been able to show up when the time is right. We have also mentioned that Bobby Labonte has led some laps in the season. He led laps, like we said, at Daytona earlier in the year, the Pepsi 400. Even though it was all under caution, he still gained 5 bonus points for leading some laps. He also led laps earlier in the year all the way back at Richmond. And he almost won that race, but as a matter of fact, Jeff Gordon beat him on tire strategy. And today here at Pocono, Bobby Labonte looks like he's going to outclass the field on tire strategy. Who would have thought that we would see this? I don't think anybody would have. I don't think anybody thought we'd see this, but here we are. Bobby Labonte, who lost a race early in the year on tire strategy, is now going to possibly win today, or as a matter of fact, he's kind of guaranteed to win even if a caution comes out to win this race on tire strategy. Labonte just has to make it 2 more laps around Pocono. And like we mentioned earlier, Bobby Labonte and that JGR team, not only just for Labonte, but for Tony Stewart, they kind of had an up and down season. Labonte being the best JGR driver out of the duo of him and Tony Stewart. Tony really hasn't had the best of championship defending seasons like we thought he would. And Bobby Labonte has really showed up a lot more than we thought. But as he heads now into turn 3, he can just kind of coast from here. Savor a little bit of fuel, savor some tires, throttle it back up. And as he heads into turn 3, Labonte will finally get to see the white flag waving for him, and it's going to be here at Pocono. 1 more lap at Pocono. Bobby Labonte trying to get his 23rd career win. Still searching for that 23rd career win. He knows for a fact that he can get the job done. And as a matter of fact, it's not 23rd career win, it's his 20th career win. Still searching for career win number 20, and it could come here at Pocono. As he enters turn 2 just fine. Going off turn 2, he keeps the momentum going, and he's good. He's got to make it through 1 more corner, and this race victory is his. As he enters turn 3, the taste of long-awaited victory will be here for Bobby Labonte as he rounds turn number 3. And his 20th career victory will come here at Pocono for Bobby Labonte in the 18. Congratulations to Bobby Labonte and the entire JGR crew, as the 18 car is now going back to victory lane once again, and for the first time in 2003. Man, oh man. What a race for Bobby Labonte, and what a race for that Joe Gibbs Racing team. Tony Stewart, his teammate, just barely came up short of a top 10, but the good news for JGR, one of their drivers, Bobby Labonte, got the job done and took the checker flag. And this is his win forever. 20th career win, and it doesn't get any better than that. Congratulations to Bobby Labonte. What a race. What a race. What a win. This race just got better. It was crazy on the opening lap. Then it got better. I don't know what it is, but it got a lot better. It was definitely one of those races where I don't think any of us expected it to end the way that it did. So, hey, it all works out like that. But let's go on ahead and take a look at today's finishing results coming out of today's race. So, Baba Labonte scores his first win of the season and his 20th career victory, with Dale Earnhardt Jr. following suit in second. Casey Mears finishing in third, his best career finish to date. Mark Martin in fourth, his best finish of the seasons thus far. Matt Kenseth in fifth, Jerry Nadeau in sixth, Jeremy Mayfield in seventh, Jimmy Johnson eighth, Greg Biffle in ninth, and Kevin Harvick rounds out the top 10. So, a lot of big names that have finished inside the top 10, and a lot of drivers that are looking for some good finishes, getting them today. So that works out perfectly for them. And you got Michael Waltripson in 11th. Tony Stewart, like we said, barely misses out on the top 10 by finishing in 12th. Still not bad for the 20 car. The Steve Park finishes in 13th. Sterling Marlin 14th. Terry Labonte in 15th. Jay McMurray in 16th. The point leader, Zachary Smithley, finishes 17th with 5 bonus points, and that's good for him. He actually passed Bill Elliott for P18, he passed Bill Elliott for P17, putting Bill Elliott down to P18, Kurt Busch P19, and Jeff Green finishes in 30th. Then you got John Andretti finishing in 21st, Ryan Newman 22nd, Rusty Wallace 23rd, Elliott Sadler 24th, Joe Nemechek 25th, Ricky Craven 26th, Dale Jarrett 27th, Ricky Rudd in 28th, Jeff Byrne in 29th, and Jimmy Spencer finishes in 30th. You got Kenny Wallace 31st, Jeff Gordon 32nd, Dave Blaney 33rd, Jack Sprague 34th, Kyle Petty in 35th, Johnny Benson in 36th, Top 9 in 37th, Tony Raines in 38th, Robbie Gordon in 39th, and Larry Foyt rounds out the top 40. And then we have the final 3 drivers of Ken Schrader, Mike Skinner, and Ward Burton. Not good finishes for those 3. Could have ended up being a lot different for them. But we always have the next race, which is the Brickyard 400. 10 years of the Brickyard for NASCAR. So that race should be a lot of fun. And maybe we'll see another first-time winner. Who knows? Because so far, Baba Labonte has now added his name to being the 11th different winner of 2003. Doesn't get any better than a number 18 car. Does not get any better. But after a race like that, I think it's time to take a look at the point standings coming out of today. Which, let's just say, a lot has changed. A lot has changed. So, coming out of Pocono, Zachary Smithley is still the point leader coming out of today. Jeff Gordon still remains in second. However, the points gap between the two has increased once again. The gap between Zachary Smithley and Jeff Gordon is now over 200 points. 227 points, as a matter of fact, between the two. So Smithley gained some points on Gordon, and that's what he wanted to do. And you got Ryan Newman in third, Jimmy Johnson now up to fourth, ahead of Ricky Rudd in fifth, Kurt Busch in sixth, Dale Earnhardt Jr. now finds himself inside the top 10 in points in seventh, Bill Elliott's now eighth, Matt Kenseth in ninth, and Jeff Green rounding out the top 10. Then Jeff Burton is down in 11th. Kevin Harvick is 12th. Jay McMurray in 13th. Bobby Labonte in 14th. Dale Jarrett 15th. Michael Waltrip is 16th. Jeremy Mayfield is 17th. Tony Stewart in 18th. Jerry Nadeau in 19th. And Mark Martin enters the top 20 after another top 5 finish this season. You got Tony Raines not finishing. Tony Raines is down in 21st with Sterling Marlin in 22nd. Rusty Wallace 23rd. Greg Biffle 24th. John Andretti in 25th, Terry Labonte in 26th, excuse me. Elliott Sadler in 27th, Johnny Benson in 28th, Casey Mears up to 29th with Kyle Petty in 30th. So Casey Mears, good finish, good points haul, up into the top 30. And he is very far out from that go or go home bracket. And you got Joe Nemechek at 31st, Steve Park at 32nd, Ricky Craven at 33rd, Dave Blaney at 34th, and Kenny Wallace in 35th. Now everybody below Kenny Wallace is a part of the go or go home or cut, besides the number 1 car of Robbie Gordon, because in owner's points, the RCR number 31 is 37th in owner's points, and the number 1 DEI car is 32nd in owner's points. So, a little bit confusing, but we'll get there. It's fine. But Ward Burton 36th, Robbie Gordon at 37th, then you got Todd Bodine in 38th, Larry Foyt in 39th, and Ken Schrader in 40th. And then Jimmy Spencer's in 41st, Mike Skinner in 42nd, Jack Sprague up to 43rd, Jason Keller in 44th, Scott Pruitt 45th, Casey Atwood in 46th, Mike Wallace 47th, Christopher Fittipaldi 48th, Kerry Earnhardt 49th, and Shelby Howard in 50th. They got Hermie Sadler 51st, Buckshot Jones 52nd, Derek Cope 53rd, Kirk Shelmerdine 54th, Bobby Hamilton Jr. 55th, Brett Bodine 56th, Kevin LePage 57th, Morgan Shepherd 58th, and Boris Said rounds out the field in 59th. Ugh. A lot of drivers to name. Doesn't get old, never has, never will. But, next race, like we said, the Brickyard 400 should be a lot of fun. And it is 10 years of the Brickyard, so we're going to see how that race will shape up for everybody when we go there next time out. But, as for next time, this one is now done. Sorry it took 2 weeks to get this all done and everything. Obviously, life got in the way, and not fun when that happens. Wish I could prevent it from happening, to be honest, but yeah, there's only so much I feel like I could do when shit like that happens. So, my fault for taking a lot longer than I wanted to, but don't y'all worry. Should be back to regularly doing these NASCAR iRacing videos, and here soon I'm gonna make it up to y'all, and I'm probably gonna double upload for a little bit, and what game that might be y'all will know here sometime soon, especially with a certain date that I'll mention, which is April 15th, the anniversary of NASCAR 07 once again, and we're close to episode 150, so about time to get on that, don't you think? So there's gonna be a lot of NASCAR, let me tell you. But other than that, though, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for coming out. I'll see you all this coming Saturday for the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. But until then, have a great day, everyone. I love y'all oh so very much. Take care of one another out there. Be kind to one another. Hope y'all have a great day. And I'll see you at the Brickyard. I love y'all. Have a good night. And goodbye.